All right, so you got lights at your church, but you might be wondering, what in the world are we supposed to do with them? And maybe even what are we not supposed to do with them? We're here at Prestonwood Baptist Church in Plano, Texas. We're here with Matthew Hughes, their LD. Matt, how long have you been here at Prestonwood?
Oh, almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. And you guys have probably more toys than the average church, especially a small church. But I want to make the argument that the principles still apply. It doesn't have how many lights you have, it's what you do with them.
Absolutely.
So can you kind of talk through us about, let's just take a regular Sunday morning here at Prestonwood, and what are some of the things you're doing between worship, house lighting, the teaching, and some of the kind of the laws of lighting and worship here at Prestonwood?
Sure. So, well, first let's start with house lights. Kind of our philosophy here at Prestonwood is that we worship in the light, and the house lights are on the entire service at 100%.
Yeah.
Which makes programming the rest of the service a little bit interesting, sometimes a little bit challenging in some ways. But ultimately, it forces me to be more creative with the lights that I do.
Yeah. And is there a philosophy, vision behind why you keep the house lights on?
But it's really a preference from leadership.
Okay.
Really is what it comes down to. And you know, we fully adopt that and do what we can with space with the house lights.
So obviously you can see others worshiping. That can draw you into a wider experience. That, you know, it can all just so distract you because you can see others worshiping.
Sure.
So there are pros and cons. Obviously, you know, this decision comes from your leadership, from that vision.
Yep.
But okay, you're a house light on church.
Yep. So I would say, from my perspective, we need to make the worship environment here immersive. We really try and pull people into the experience, and we do that a lot through these architectural lights that we have on the side, and then also through the video and all the fixtures that you see on stage.
So these architectural lights, those can just change colors?
Yep, there's two sections to them. They have kind of like a backlight filament to them, and then also the face we have full control over. So it kind of lets you control like the dimensions of all those lights. And they're in a really great position where if you're looking at the stage, they really fill your peripheral area. And so I'd say that goes into kind of the immersive like aspect of it.
Yeah, almost like, I know they're not stained glass windows, but it's almost like you're giving a little bit of that, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We want the worship experience to feel simple. Now, it kind of sounds a little bit crazy looking at the stage, seeing all the lights that we have here.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that I can do from behind the desk to still make something that is engaging and simple. One of the things that I do is kind of play with the color space a little bit of each song. We typically tend to stay blue. This light blue color really seems to suit the room, really suits the worship experience. And if I've done my job correctly, manipulating things like texture, speed, intensity, most people don't even realize that the entire worship service is blue.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to keep things simple, but still kind of feel like we're progressing somewhere through the service.
Okay. One thing I've often wondered as a worshiper out in the audience, there's kind of this division line of you're out in the congregation or you're on stage. Is there a way in which you approach lighting to make it feel like it's one cohesive room other than divided by those two things?
I think, again, earlier, how I said we kind of use the sides to make the space feel more immersive. The way that you program things like intensity effects, the way you program movement on stage, each of these things are going to be super important to pulling the audience like into the worship experience.
Yeah.
And I would say that's primarily done through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a different scene for every song you guys do?
Yeah. Each scene is different. Again, we typically tend to stay in, the blue color area on stage. But you'll see different texture coming out of the lights, different positioning. Yeah.
Okay. Do you use movement during worship with your lights?
Yes. Now, we do use movement. We do not very often send lights into the house.
Okay.
However, we do have a lot of lights moving on stage. So this is it's a good example of this. So this is the last chorus of Sing Praise.
Okay.
As you can see, the lights are moving but I'm not sending any lights into the house.
Okay.
There's no lights in people's eyes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of at a slow speed.
Yeah.
And I don't typically tend to make the lights do anything faster than kind of what you're seeing here. This is something that kind of feels to me like it's comfortable, and it's also kind of moving at the same pace of the objects in the video. Those are kind of two things that help me tie the stage together.
And I noticed the spots are even throwing up on the ceiling, which is technically part of the audience out here. So in a way, you're kind of breaking that stage line wall.
Yes. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so avoiding lights in the eyes. Did you ever learn that the hard way, or did you come in day one and they said, no, lights in people's eyes?
No, I think Brian certainly did a great job of kind of laying the expectations here down for when I got in. There are some really special times where we'll break that rule. Prestonwood has a couple like really big choir songs that we're known for. So those are times where I'm able to kind of send the lights into the house, and then maybe a couple times on like special services like Christmas or Easter, we'll get away with it. But
guys,
the general rule is to not send lights into people's eyes.
Yeah. Yes. I assume we're seeing haze in the room right now.
Yep.
What's your approach there?
Yep. I don't run the hazer probably over 10%. I think every single room is different. However, this room, the AC is very efficient and works really well. We have 2 MDG ATME hazers.
Okay.
And they're also very efficient, which is why I only run them around 10%.
Yeah. So you have 2 hazers in a room that seats 7,000 people.
Yes. Yep.
So less is more.
Yes. Now, these hazers are also, they're not your typical hazers. Man, how do I say this? Each of these hazers require a CO2 tank.
Okay.
So we do have to change that out about every month. But the plus to that is the particles that are produced by the machine kind of hang around in the air a little bit longer. So
okay,
kind of get a little bit of a better effect.
Yeah. And the LED walls. So how do you approach? Do you feel like LEDs are an extension of your lighting design, or are they two competing things, or how do you?
To me, it's definitely an extension of the design. I try and think about the LED as kind of like a set piece almost. You'll notice this is our message look.
Okay.
For Sundays, this kind of we kind of refer to it as blue scratch. What you see on there right now. I try and think about these as kind of walls on the stage that transform as we move through the service. But I don't ever think about them as video screens in a traditional sense. Yeah.
Okay. And then your side screens, are those always just iMag?
Yes, those are iMag. Most of the time, there are occasions sometimes towards the end of the service where we'll we have this blue scratch manufactured for the iMag as well, and we'll move lyrics to the center screen there. But most of the time, yeah, they are iMag.
And is that how you light your pastor if he was standing up right now? That's exactly how it would look?
Absolutely, yeah.
And how do you balance lighting for the room versus on camera? Does one get a priority over the other?
It's kind of Brian. I would say Brian kind of leaves it up to me a little bit. But we try and prioritize the broadcast and the in-room experience like evenly as much as we can. There are certain aspects where we'll compromise a little bit more towards one side. Just depends on the situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you had to shrink your context down to, let's say, 100-person church, 100-person room, very limited budget, what are some of the key essentials that you would be like, if I just had these, I could still do something that creates a good worship environment?
I would make sure that you have lighting fixtures that have a high CRI.
Okay. What does that mean?
CRI is going to determine how well your CRI is going to determine how well your fixture renders color.
Okay.
And so when you're aiming lights at people and lighting them up on camera, that's going to be super important. So along with lights that have a high CRI, I would also make sure that you have a color meter to make sure that your lights are at the color temperature they're saying they're at. And just so that it will help you make things look better on camera.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've heard some great, applicable lighting principles for a church of any size. I know we're in one of the largest church sanctuaries in America, but even the same principles apply. Whether you do house lights on or house lights off, that's, a different vision for both and different reasons for both. If you're using LED, they should be an extension of your lighting design and not competing with one another. Keeping lights out of people's eyes, but still doing creative things to draw them towards the stage into the worship experience rather than just separating that way. A lot of creative principles, a lot of things that you can apply at your church. Hey, thanks so much for watching that video. We know how difficult it is to keep Sundays running at your church, and we know a lot of it is about the gear. So we want to give you an exclusive 5% additional off anything, even if we're running a sale. Even if we're running a sale, additional 5% off, grab the code in the video description below.